Penguin Audio presents The Map and the Territory, Risk, Human Nature, and the Future of Forecasting by Alan Greenspan. Read by Malcolm Hillgartner. For my beloved Andrea. Introduction. It was a call I never expected to receive. I had just returned home from indoor tennis on the chilly, windy Sunday afternoon of March 16, 2008. A senior official of the Federal Reserve Board was on the phone to alert me of the board's just-announced invocation, for the first time in decades, of the obscure but explosive Section 13(3) of the Federal Reserve Act. Broadly interpreted, Section 13(3) empowered the Federal Reserve to lend nearly unlimited cash to virtually anybody. On March 16th, it empowered the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to lend $29 billion to facilitate the acquisition of Bear Stearns by J.P. Morgan. Bear Stearns, the smallest of the major investment banks, founded in 1923, was on the edge of bankruptcy, having run through nearly $20 billion of cash just the previous week. Its demise was the beginning of a 6-month erosion in global financial stability that would culminate with the Lehman Brothers failure on September 15, 2008, triggering possibly the greatest financial crisis ever. To be sure, the Great Depression of the 1930s involved a far greater collapse in economic activity, but never before had short-term financial markets, the facilitators of everyday commerce, shut down on so global a scale. The drying up of deeply liquid markets literally overnight, as investors swung from euphoria to fear, dismantled vast financial complexes, and led to a worldwide contraction in economic activity. The role of human nature in economic affairs was never more apparent than on that fateful day in September and in the weeks that followed. On the face of it, the financial crisis also represented an existential crisis for economic forecasting. I began my post-crisis investigations, culminating in this book, in an effort to understand how we all got it so wrong, and what we can learn from the fact that we did. At its root, then, this is a book about forecasting human nature, what we think we know about the future, and what we decide we should do about it. It's about the short term and the long term, and, perhaps most important, about the foggy place where the one turns into the other. We are, at this moment, faced with a number of serious, long-term economic problems, all in a sense having to do with underinvesting in our economic future. My most worrisome concern is our broken political system. It is that system on which we rely to manage our rule of law, defined in our Constitution. See Chapter 14. My fondest hope for this book is that some of the insights my investigations have yielded will be of some use in bolstering the case for taking action now, in the short term, which is in our long-term collective self-interest, despite the unavoidable short-term pain it will bring. The only alternative is incalculably worse pain and human suffering later. There is little time to waste. The Forecasting Imperative. As always, though we wish it were otherwise, economic forecasting is a discipline of probabilities. The degree of certainty with which the so-called hard sciences are able to identify the metrics of the physical world appears to be out of the reach of the economic disciplines. But forecasting, irrespective of its failures, will never be abandoned. It is an inbred necessity of human nature. The more we can anticipate the course of events in the world in which we live, the better prepared we are to react to those events in a manner that can improve our lives. Introspectively, we know that we have a limited capability to see much beyond our immediate horizon. That realization has prompted us, no doubt from before a recorded history, to look for ways to compensate for this vexing human shortcoming. In ancient Greece, kings and generals sought out the advice of the oracle of Delphi before embarking on political or military ventures. 2 millennia later, Europe was enthralled by the cryptic prognostications of Nostradamus. Today, both fortune-tellers and stock-pickers continue to make a passable living. Even repeated forecasting failure will not deter the unachievable pursuit.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?